Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, My Ex, a 24-year-old female, wants to reconnect, but she's had you-know-what with many others and I haven't. And a big shout out to David for sending me this story. And guys, this is about a guy who about 6 months ago, out of nowhere, he and his girlfriend broke up. He didn't say who broke up with who, but they broke up. As you can imagine, this guy, to no surprise, was pretty heartbroken about this whole thing, as he had a very hard time dealing with life afterward. However, his girl, his ex, she's been having a good old time and has developed quite the number ever since they broke up. And I'm going over this one, guys, an example to show you, as you're going to see, that how gals can very easily, like that, get guys, have plenty of the sex, but a guy, not so easy. But also, oftentimes after these breakups, the gal can go right back into the field and have a whole lot of fun, but the guy struggles. And then when she realizes that the field isn't too great and that the guys all out there are like Chad and Tyrone, she wants to come back home, if you will. And the guy, because he has had a bad experience, takes her back. And it goes back to the same old crap as before, and how it's so important for guys that they have to fully get over the breakup and the relationship before they can move on. Because and you're going to see in the story how he tries to meet up with other girls, but they all turn him down. And there's a reason for that I'll get into later, but then he's now debating getting back with her. It's a bad idea because the same crap will go on, except she'll be in a stronger position in the relationship. And of course, how they always want to come back once they've had their fun. So that'd be a good one to go over here. A lot of lessons here. Starts off, he says here, I'll start by saying that I'm not trying to judge anyone, only to clear my thoughts. 6 months ago, me and my girl broke up. The breakup was based on silly reasons, mistakes that I made, and a general emotional issue. However, since at that time I was feeling numb, I never tried to salvage anything. Well, a lot of people are numb after breakups. During the first 2 weeks of being broken up, I stayed at home to manage my feelings. I felt sad, I cried, and drank and smoked. We never stopped talking, and even if it officially broken up, we would chat every day like before. That's a bad idea. Then why are you broken up? You need to have no contact. You can't get over her if you're talking to her every day and all that. And spending all your time drinking and smoking substances and all that, that's no way to go. I get you're hurting, but you gotta, I get a weekend of doing that, but making that the thing every day, you gotta get out there. You gotta hang out with your bros and your family and do things you enjoy. Problem is, this guy put all the stock in her, and he's got nothing without her. It was as if we were still together. When I inevitably asked her if she dated anyone during this time, she told me that she had already had you-know-what with 2 different men. Alrighty. He's at home drinking and smoking and being miserable and singing the blues and playing a harmonica singing how sad he is. But she's already hooked up with 2 dudes. And you know the old thing, whatever number they give you, that's like 1/3. So it's probably been 6 dudes. Didn't take her long to move on. Maybe that was the reason for the breakup. But you shouldn't be talking to her. And you think this is going to make him any better? She even told me how handsome and cool and rich these guys were. Hearing that sucked. I couldn't handle the heartbreak. I insulted her and went no contact. Well, that was real nice of her. And good. I'm glad you went no contact. I decided to move on. For the next few months, I got nothing. I recently moved back to my hometown and have no women in my social circle. So dating apps and Instagram were my only choice. Nothing. Not even a date. Rejection after rejection after rejection. Soon enough, I knew that it wasn't the lack of sex that was eating me, but this unbearable loneliness. Well, here's the problem. This guy didn't give himself a long time to heal. He's been with her for a while. He's brokenhearted and all that. You just can't just jump on the dating apps or start talking to women because they're going to see right through him. And by the way, you all know that the dating apps really only work for a small percentage of the guys. The rest of the guys, it's a grueling process. But even if he was talking to gals, guarantee they could see right through. And he's probably talking about his ex and said, we just broke up and it's been so hard and blah, blah, blah. And they're probably like, okay, see ya. Because they don't want to deal with that. So I'm sure that's a big part. What he needed to do was work on himself for a while before he even jumped back into the ring, if that's what he wanted. 3 months after the breakup, I decided to meet with my ex. She agreed. We had so much fun. An afternoon with her made the rest of my days look miserable and depressing. I asked her if she dated anyone else after the first 2 men. You didn't like the answer the first time, so now you're going to do this all over again? She said yes, she's been dating multiple men. She told that she likes to meet people through sex. Keep in mind that when I met her, she was 21-year-old Kissless Virgin who wouldn't have had sex with me before months of everyday talking and opening up to each other. I went no contact again. So again, 3 months later, she's been hooking with multiple men. Shock. Does she sound like so brokenhearted to you? No. And notice he said here, he quoted her saying that she likes to meet people through sex. Welcome to Sodom Gomorrah 2.0. Translation, she's meeting people through hookup apps. We meet and hook up like Tinder, and then she gets to know them, instead of the old way where you actually met people, got to know them, dated, and then had the sex. And this was the so-called Kissless Virgin when they met. But be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you ask. Curiosity killed the, 6 months later, I've been rejected so many times that I completely stopped trying. I remember the times when I had women in my social circle. Many would be interested in me. Now I'm a loner who has no other choice. I gave up on dating and feel depression coming steadily towards me. Well, probably because back when you were younger, you were happy. You didn't give a shit. And therefore, they could read that you were happy and didn't give a shit. But now they could probably sense that hunger and that desperation. And women are attracted to men that are desperate. Not to mention broken heart over their ex. And I guarantee he's probably telling his sob story to every fucking girl he talks to. And that would turn them off, of course. When I was in my loneliness, I got a message from my ex. She wanted to meet me. She came over, we had fun, had sex, and talked. Well, she knew how to get to you. She told me that she wanted to get back with me. I really felt the same way. Smack. No. Why is she coming back? Because she's had her fun with Chad and Tyrone, lots of Chads and Tyrones, and now she's ready for the sure thing relationship guy. And she knows obviously you're miserable because I guarantee he's telling her everything. Oh, I can't get into girls. And she's thinking, well, I got all the power in this relationship. It's not the place to be. He should not get back with her, not to mention the fact that she's had quite the roll in the hay. Good Lord. And it's all for the wrong reasons. And if it didn't work out the first time, it's not going to work out the second time. However, she made it clear that she tried out many different men, and realized that either she didn't like them as much as me, or she did like them a lot, but they weren't interested in more than casual sex. Oh, in other words, I'm going back to you because the ones I really wanted, they only wanted me for my body. That's how Chad and Tyrone roll. I, on the other hand, can only compare her to my total isolation and loneliness. My heart wants her back, but I understand that I have no way of knowing whether my feelings would be the same if I had a few signs of women liking me back during these months. I feel like my reasons for wanting to reconnect aren't right and will lead to despise and jealousy. My friends insist I simply shouldn't think about it and get back with her simply because her company is better than the lack of it. What is your opinion? Well, my opinion, number one, is don't take the advice of your friends, because if your friends don't have a whole lot of history of being good in relationships and experience and all that, don't take their advice. My advice is you don't get back with her. My advice is that you need to spend serious time working on yourself and getting back who you are. This guy, depressed and lonely, and I can appreciate that. Those are painful things to go through, and I'm sure many guys watching this either are going through that right now or have in the past. But you can't just spend all your time feeling sorry for yourself. I haven't heard anything about him hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, doing hobbies and interests that he likes, doing things to better himself. All I hear about him is trying the dating apps and being depressed all the time. Okay? And if he thinks that since he had no luck with girls this whole time period, that, hey, being with her is better than being alone, and I'll just settle and deal with it, and it'll be better the second time around, he's out of his mind. A lot of guys out there will have breakups, and of course the girl can go hook up with lots of guys because it's easy for them if they're remotely attractive. And the guys have little luck, and they'll go back to her because they figure it's better than being alone, when they never really gave themselves a chance to get over her, which can take, the longer you're with a girl, the longer it takes to get over her, work on themselves, because I guarantee you, if this guy spent this whole time with no contact with her, was hanging out with his bros, was trying to get over her, doing things he enjoyed, whatever. If you like playing tennis, he played tennis. If you like playing golf, he played golf. If you like hitting the gym, whatever. He had goals he was pursuing. he'd start getting over her, healing, feeling better. Because he's feeling good, he'd send that vibe out in the world, would probably attract girls, and he'd be dating girls. And if that was the case, he may not be going back to her. But he's going back to her in a weakened position. And she's not going to be attracted to that. She's clearly following back on him because she doesn't have any other options. And she's going to have all the power. Not to mention the fact that she's been getting down with Chad and Tyrone all this time. That's not a very pretty picture to imagine. And he also knows that she could, like that, move on from him, and she has all the power in the relationship, which is never a good place to be. So, no, he should not get back with her. He needs to work on himself. But sadly, so many guys do just that. So that's what I think about this whole thing. And to no surprise, she's getting as much sausage as she wants and wants to go back to him. But I do not think he should take her back. Now, I'm going to read some comments here to show I'm not alone in my thinking here. But this is, I could have done this video on the other channel because it's more of a teaching video, but what the hell, I'm already here. One guy says here, dude, you broke up for 6 months, yet you write like you have been hopelessly single for 20 years. You should really get into a hobby or some kind of activity you enjoy. Being single doesn't have to suck. You don't have to be lonely just because you're not in a relationship. Don't you have a family or friends to spend time with? You should learn to enjoy being on your own, or otherwise you'll always be a doormat who takes any kind of shit from women because you're afraid of being alone. That's exactly it. All of you guys watching this, for your relationship guys, you got to be able to be okay being by yourself, being alone. Okay, a lot of guys can't, and therefore they get in relationships where the gal treats them like shit because they're so terrified of being alone. Nothing wrong being alone, really. And obviously, if you fill your life up with good friends and family and things you enjoy, everybody has to have some hobbies and interests, and not making her the center of your universe. That's always a disaster when you make the girl the center of your universe. No girl respects a guy who makes a girl the center of his universe. She wants a guy that has shit going on, that has friendships, because to her, why would she want some guy with nothing going on but her? Really? It's not rocket science. That guy, he also says here, and this is what you have to find out now. Do you really want your ex back, or do you want to be in a relationship and she's the only one you can find right now? Does she deserve you? Are you okay with her trying out many men only to realize she can't do better than you? This would be extremely insulting to me, like you are her last resort instead of her first choice. Correct. And you know what? He'd probably end up marrying her and she'd treat him like dog shit. Another guy says here, you aren't in a healthy space to get back with her or even find someone right now. I think you really need to work on yourself through this loner mentality and find fullness in yourself. From this vantage point, you look like you are just trolling for validation through sex from any woman that moves, and I'm sure they can sense it too. Right. Any woman watching this can comment saying, yes, women can pick up when guys are desperate and all that, and it turns them off. I guarantee you the women sense this, and this is why they're rejecting him. Figure yourself out first. Be enough by yourself and build healthy connections with people platonically. Later, the romance will come. But for real, you don't want anyone that's attracted to you in this state. And one more. This guy says here, the motives for your original breakup might have been a lot more valid than you think. Regardless of the fact that your ex had sex with a bunch of people and you hadn't, which is predictable because it's a lot easier for a gal in her 20s to get casual sex from strangers than it is for a guy, are you positive that you want to get back with her for the right reasons? It looks like you think you failed to connect with other gals since your breakup. You claim you have given up on dating scene, but it's only been 6 months, so I think you gave up way too soon. I don't blame him for giving up because of how many of the gals are today. But he's given up because he's being rejected left and right, and that can hurt. But I'm telling you, he needs to work on himself, and if he did and took time to heal and get back to who he was and be a better version of his old self, I guarantee you his dating experience will be way different. Guarantee. If you take her back now, you are reigniting a relationship because you want to be with her or because you feel lonely and you think you can't find anyone else. If it's the latter, then you'll be dating them for the wrong reasons. And yes, on top of that, the fact is that she openly told you she's been effing with a lot of guys since your breakup. It's just going to add to your own mental health decline. Right. He doesn't need to hear all that and think about all that. And whatever numbers she's given him, I guarantee it's way more. But just to think that your girl out there has been no problem whatsoever casually hooking up with all these dudes left and right. That's not a very appealing thing. And one more. Got another one here, so I'll read it. This guy says, not pretending to be an expert, but I'm not sure it would be healthy for you to get back together. First, it clearly bothered you that she'd hook up with several other dudes while you were away. It might eat you away slowly doubt she came back to you because she couldn't secure anybody better. And she's silently comparing you to those more handsome rich men. If she could get a better guy, she would have gotten a better guy. This guy's her fallback guy, and nobody wants to be a fallback. But the main problem I foresee is the complete power imbalance in your relationship. If things go south again between you, she can go back to her life of casual friends and benefits, where you'll be left alone. The stakes are much higher for you, and you may end up accepting things you shouldn't out of self-respect just because you can't afford to break up. Right, he'll be a total doormat and pushover to all her bullshit, and she'll sense that he's weak and pull bullshit because he's afraid of being alone, which so many guys do. It might be controversial, but I don't think you're in the mindset to date anyone at the moment. It's not controversial, it's a fact. You should first focus on getting fine by yourself, so when you meet someone, you know you want to be with them for who they are and not for the sake of being in a relationship. It will probably also help your odds in dating apps because you won't come off as desperate. Again, everybody's picking up on that except him. And maybe when you reach at that point, you'll look back and see that the other people you and your ex have become have a thing for each other, but it'll be an equal emotional footing then. Most likely you'd have moved on different paths though. Exactly. So there you go, guys. No surprise she's moved on quickly and could get plenty of sausage, shocker. And of course going back to him when all other options they aren't there anymore. So something to learn there. So he definitely needs to work on himself, and only then. But so many guys, because they're so terrified of being alone, and this is something I never got. I never had a problem being alone, but a lot of guys do. And so you can't truly be what you're meant to be and have strength in yourself and in a relationship if you can't handle being alone. Because you can't handle being alone, you're going to accept shitty terms, and you'll be walked all over. And the most common theme to all these stories I do, both on this channel and on the other channels, where guys write me in their personal stories, most of the stories here are stories online, is that they're weak. And that weakness usually comes from fear. And I guarantee that fear comes from fear of being alone. But if they weren't afraid all the time, they'd stand up for themselves, have a spine, have a backbone, and their situation would be completely different. Doesn't mean there aren't a-hole girls out there. They are, and they treat these guys terribly. And you notice this, but still, these guys, they are part of the problem until they fix themselves and can handle being alone and have self-respect. Amongst many other things, this shit's going to keep happening to them. This is why I encourage self-improvement, self-reflection to better yourself, and accountability where you're fucking up so you don't keep doing that. But, sadly, got a whole world out there people that it's easier to blame everybody else but them, and they keep making the same mistakes. But I help out who I can through these channels. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. I don't know if he'll ever see this, but you never know. Let me know, guys, if you're honest. Can you be alone? Are there some of you guys out there that maybe you can be alone now, but when you're younger you couldn't be alone and you were like this guy? I'd like to hear about it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.